Don't matter right or wrong. Come on, man. Satisfy me.
Give me a couple more minutes, guys. All right, guys. All right, let me welcome everybody. I wasn't planning to do a live stream tonight, but I'm a little bit bored, and I thought it'd be a good time to get people. I don't know, maybe we could talk about something besides NASCAR. Uh, I do have uh, other interests and stuff, and maybe there are things you guys might want to talk about or ask or whatever. In either case, somebody did send me some information about motorsport games. Uh, I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. But before I do, I want to welcome everybody. So, welcome Arlacani, 1200 HP. Welcome Hot Dog. Welcome Jonathan Johnson. Welcome Austin Nance. Welcome. Let's see. For now, I don't see anybody else. But yeah, I mean, it's a slow night. I'm a bit bored here, trying to kill some time, and I just said, let me just see who's on. All right, so 1200 HP, no NASCAR races. Guess I'll have to watch F1. Yeah, I don't follow F1. It's just not for me. Hot Dog says football time. Yeah, there is a football game on tonight. I don't know who's playing, but who's playing tonight? Wait a minute. Give me a second, guys. They're not on TV anyway. Wait a minute. Who's playing tonight? You guys gotta let me know. I forgot. All right. Jonathan says, I wonder what's new for today. Since yesterday I had my back tooth, just one pull today. Not a wisdom tooth, it's the one next to it, but I'm doing good. Hopefully won't fall asleep. Yeah, that sucks, man. Going to the dentist is no fun, man. So I hope you feel better. Austin, hey man, hello. Jonathan says too much info. It's cool, man. We all go through it. I had oral surgery early last year. It's not fun, man. I see it broken. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I fucking even walking by a dentist's office, it's just something about it. It gets in my fucking bones. Let's see. Austin, feeling bad about Harvick. Yeah, man, he's gonna be in the booth. He's not gonna disappear. Jonathan, disco isn't my thing, but I know it's good. I love country music and rock, like Metallica. Yeah, I like. Let's see, Austin asking what other genres of music that I enjoy. I can listen to just about anything. Um, Believe it or not, disco. It's weird to explain. I like a wide variety of things, right? Uh, Obviously, I love disco. I think disco is underappreciated, and a lot of people don't. They think of it more as of a gimmicky sort of era, but um, if you really listen to disco music, and there, first of all, disco is very diverse. It people tend to think of disco as one thing. There's all types of disco, just like house music. If you're into house music, you got tribal house, deep house, all kinds of, and house is a derivative of disco. So they're sort of distant cousins, right? I like house music. I love disco. I love ballads. I like R&B, soul, funk. Um, I can listen to pop. Pop, it really depends, right? Um, Most of the music I gravitate to is 70s and early 80s, right? So even rock, right? From that era, I really enjoy yacht rock. I can listen to anything. I have a massive library of music. I have I tend to listen to things that aren't really well known. Um, I have a lot of music that is like underground, even things people refer to as library music, jazz. I grew up listening to a lot of jazz. So I have a wide variety of music that I enjoy. Uh, I don't just listen to disco music, right? I really do have a very diverse, like the I don't really listen to country or like Metallica, right? Like if you brought that up, like that, those are the things I probably don't listen to. I have nothing against it. I've heard country music before that I've enjoyed, but they tend to be more on the ballad side of things. I remember growing up listening to Eddie Rabbit, "Looking for Love." I remember that was a huge hit when that came out, but that is also sort of a ballad. I can't really say I know anything about country, real country music, um, and like rock, hard rock, not really, but uh, sort of 70s rock I could listen to. Eagles. You know, I enjoy who's that other group? Man, I'm bad remembering names off the top of my head. You guys know. Fuck. Freebird. Uh, Fuck. What is their name? Uh, I know the lead singer died in a plane crash. You guys know who I'm talking about. But I love a lot of their songs. Simple Man. Uh, Sweet Home Alabama, I think, is them as well. Um, it's a cool song, but I've heard it so many times. It's just fucking, when you hear something a billion times, even though you liked it at first, it just wears off on you. Like I've heard Sweet Home Alabama a million times. Every time I go to a NASCAR race, that's what you hear all weekend. Everybody's playing it. So it's not that I don't like it. It's just I've heard it so much. It's like, um, but yeah, I have a massive library of music. Um, I had a big record collection at one time. I sold all my vinyl many years ago. I still have a ton of CDs. Now everything is electronic, digital. But yeah, I've been a music lover my whole life. Let's see. Let's see. Three. Kevin Harvick diecast. I would love to. Paint scheme has Budweiser scheme. Normal. Yeah, the diecast I'm sure are gonna sell pretty quick. Uh, I love the surprise live streams. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks. Chargers Jets. Holy fuck! Why they're not on TV, are they? I put it on channel 7. Are they on cable? Fuck. All right, I can't watch it now anymore. So yeah. Let's see. Just keep me updated on the score if you don't mind. Not every 2 minutes, but every once in a while, let me know, what quarter, what score, if you don't mind. Let's see. Jonathan says not impressed with F1, but if I can watch the Las Vegas race, I will. Um, I tried watching some F1. Just I wanted to get a feel for it. I just can't. It's not for me. And I have not. I totally get it. Those people that are into it, much respect. It's just not for me. The reason I gravitated to NASCAR in the first place is because I've always been a car guy my whole life. I worked on cars. I built cars growing up. Um, I built my own cars for like almost 30 years. I had 70s muscle cars. Um, so I've always been a car guy. And NASCAR is a stock car racing league, right? So I felt like an attachment to NASCAR because of that. Like I actually understand the cars. F1, they're basically airplanes with wheels. The technology is really out there. I don't feel a connection to like I don't know what it's like to race in a fucking Formula One car. There's nothing about it that feels like uh like a car. Like most people can look at a stock car and be like, okay, I get that, I understand that. So, all right, hold on a second. Oh, JC 1424, welcome. Staying alive. Disco is underappreciated. You are underappreciated. Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. Jonathan Johnson, rap is my least favorite, but that's newer. I enjoyed rap before, I would say, the mid 2000s. Like at some point I lost total interest. I don't like rap today. I haven't liked rap in a long time. Like I'm an old school hip hop guy. Um, the '90s was the golden era. I grew up on Tribe Called Quest, Rakim, uh, Busta Rhymes. Uh, you know, the '90s was the golden era. I just feel like even up into the 2000s, Outkast. So I at some point it just changed. It turned into mumble rap, and then a lot of this trap shit. A lot of these guys are just street guys. Everybody's a fucking rapper now. I haven't heard of 90% of the so-called rappers today. I don't know who they are. Um, I haven't really heard anything I really liked in a long time. And I'm not telling you that there is no such thing as good rap music today. I'm just so out of the loop. It's not for me. So I do like hip hop more. I'm an old school guy. So yeah, let's see. The new ones like hip hop from the '90s, 2000s, but country is my favorite. R. Lacani says, "Did you listen to disco growing up, or did you find it later in life?" Good question. I did listen to it growing up, but I was a kid, right? I was born in 1970, so I was really young. I vaguely remember disco, but even into the early 80s, um, I knew people. Like I remember I had this crush on one of my friends where I used to live, and he had an older sister and her boyfriend. I remember them, uh, rolling up their weed and shit, like on the vinyl record covers, and they would listen to disco music. And I was just a kid, but I had a crush on her, and I remember the music, and like that's as far as my actual memory goes. But it stayed with me. And then as I got older, and my taste for music really expanded because even when I was in high school, um, I started listening to jazz. Um, I grew up on George Benson, Al Jarreau, uh, Sade. Uh, like right now, I can tell you it's hard to put my Mount Rushmore of favorite artists, but it's pretty much Sade, Stevie Wonder, Barry White. Okay, and there is somebody that I'm sure none of you are going to know who I'm talking about, but I highly recommend. It is his name is Lonnie Liston Smith. I discovered him a little bit later, and man, uh, it just there's so many amazing artists and so many different types of music out there, just underappreciated and music you've never heard. And yeah, like late in life, I discovered like Lonnie Liston Smith. I'm big on that. Roy Ayers. If you know, I'm sure most of you guys don't know who I'm talking about, but pretty much like Sade, Stevie Wonder, Barry White, um, the Bee Gees. I was always big on them. Steely Dan. How could I forget? Another fucking, So as you could see, it's a wide variety, right? I'm not really stuck on one genre. Um, I play a lot of disco because, yeah, just it's for fun. Like when I'm gonna do a live stream or something, 90% of the time I'll play some disco, some house music, um, just to keep the energy like sort of in a more festive, you know, atmosphere, right? But I love a lot of mellow music, jazz, soul, R&B, funk. Uh, I can't go through all of it. It's like I could talk for hours, but I do have a very, very wide uh, variety of music I listen to. All right, hold on a second. Austin says, for me, hip hop, rock, some pop music, and R&B here and there. Uh, and pop music, it depends what it is, because pop is pretty. It's not really as specific as you would think, because you think of pop, you could think of Michael Jackson, and then you have like greatness, right? But then you could also think of pop of some generic of these boy band type. It's like so pop music covers such a wide area. It's hard to say, hey, yeah, I love pop music. It really depends. Uh, but yeah, let's see. JC says you should see the KG video about this format. Truly an instant classic. I'm not sure what you're referring to. KG video. Um, I don't know. Let me know what you're talking about. Maybe I know what you're talking about, and I just don't get it. Austin says used to love me some Breaking Benjamin back in the day. Hot dog Leonard Skinner. Thank you. Believe me, I know Leonard Skinner. I'm terrible with names. So there are times I'm gonna say something, and I know you guys are thinking, how could he not fucking know, such an obvious thing? It's just I have a terrible memory. Sometimes if I go out like to the store, there are things I have to write down on a piece of paper because the moment I walk out the house, I'll forget. So my memory has always been bad. And even with the most simple things, it's like I know who it is and it just won't come to me. So thank you. Yeah. And that's an obvious, everybody knows Leonard Skinner. All right, Breaking Benjamin is releasing an album soon. Okay, so I don't know who that is. You got me with that one. Jamiroquai, I love all that kind of stuff. Nicholas, welcome. New NASCAR game. When it comes to the soundtrack, I would like to see a mix of country, pop music, and rock and roll. Uh, you know, I gotta say, if there's one thing I've never cared about is the soundtrack to a game. The only time I've ever really paid attention to a soundtrack, I would say, is maybe with a Rockstar game, right? Whether it's Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption, right? Amazing soundtrack. But that's the only time I've really paid attention. I don't, these NASCAR games, I couldn't care less about the soundtrack. Um, I've never really, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not important. I just, for me, it's never been a big deal. Jonathan says, I'm excited for the 2024 24-hour Daytona. Always root for the Corvette, Cadillac GTP, which those cars uses a V8 hybrid engine. I think the Cadillac is that really flat, squarey looking car. It's really fast. I think I know what you're talking about. Nicholas says, with artists like Carrie Underwood, Lady Antebellum, Luke Combs, Brad Paisley, Carly Pierce, Shinedown, Chris Daughtry, Kelsey Ballerini, Chris Stapleton, Kelly Clarkson, Taylor Swift, Pitbull, Jason Aldean. You just named an entire group of people I don't listen to. That's exactly like not my type of music. Like Taylor Swift, like that's none of that is for me. Jonathan says I agree. Rap back then, hell music from back in the day, really good. Like Summer of '69 song was good. Yeah, that was a big song in the '80s to that era because of my grandpa when I helped him with things. Yeah, I remember the '80s vividly. It's funny how a 23-year-old like myself saying this area of music is good, better than what we have now. Honestly, oh, okay, KG Kamikaze Games. Okay, good, good. Let's see. What did you say earlier? About this format, truly an instant classic. Okay, when I get a chance, I'm gonna check it out. Thank you for letting me know. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, you don't have to be old like me, right? To say that music today sucks compared to the past. You just got to have a pair of ears. Um, in my opinion, the best era for music, and it doesn't matter what genre, is the 70s. So I don't care if it's disco, funk, soul, R&B, rock. Um, go back and listen to rock music from the 70s. Um, the Eagles, all these groups. I'm sorry, I don't see anything today that can compare. Um, for me, if I can only listen to one era of music for the rest of my life, it's the '70s. Early '80s was good too, but yeah, the '70s for me is, I think, where music peaked in terms of not only production, music production and sound, but just the feel of the music, the heart that went into it, the artistry. Um, I mean, you could bring up almost any name in from that era, and it was like, wow, icons. Just my opinion, of course, right? This is subjective. I'm not here to tell you my opinion is fact. This is pure subjective. So, all right. Let's see. Austin says Chris Daughtry was that dude. The only thing I know about Chris Daughtry is he was on American Idol. I think, if we're thinking of the same guy. But yeah. Um, there was something somebody sent me. All right, let's take a quick look. All right, so JPET27 sent me something. He does tend to hit me up with some stuff. So what is this? Hold on a second. I don't know if you guys could see this. All right. Termination of material definitive agreement. So by the way, uh, as of October 26th, Toka Limited Bark, the exclusive promoter of BTCC, British Touring Car Championship, delivered notice to Motorsport Games terminating the license agreement. So another one bites the dust. Motorsport Games loses another license. Termination of the BTCC license agreement was effective as of November 3rd. Pursuant to the BTCC license agreement, the company had been granted an exclusive license to use certain licensed intellectual property for motorsports and or racing video gaming products related themed as containing BTCC, blah blah blah. So no more BTCC for those of you who were looking forward to it, but it's all for the best, guys. Um, you wouldn't want whatever they got. I don't even think they ever started anything on that, so it doesn't really matter. Hold on a second. Let me see if I could find out what's going on. Uh, nope. Hold on. If there's any updates. Oh my God, are they wearing? Oh, okay, no. What is it? All right, so what's the score? That's what I want to know. All right, no score. They're probably gonna get their asses kicked anyway. They got a good team. They just don't have a quarterback, unfortunately. I don't think Zach Wilson's gonna ever amount to anything. But they put all their eggs in one basket with with Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers. Uh, you always got to have a backup plan. But I'm excited for the Titans. They have a quarterback. I think this uh, Levis guy is the real deal. The guy has a good arm, so I'm excited for that. I think it's Will Levis. Man, I love these fucking Oiler uniforms, man. They really need to bring this back permanently. These Oiler uniforms are fucking the
Couple
best.
of division championships under Mike Vrabel.
They're the best. And I got crappy connection. Oh boy. I guess I'll keep the live stream going for another 10-15 minutes before I call it a night. Just wanted to see how everybody was doing. And I'll see if I check that Kamikaze Games video. Yes, I am. I like basketball as well. I gotta say, right now, I've always been a Portland fan, but that was going way back to the Clyde Drexler era. So I'm not as hardcore anymore, but I kind of like the Knicks, but I'm not hardcore either. I will say this, right now, the where my main focus is right now is that guy Victor Wembanyama for San Antonio. That guy is a fucking beast. I think this is gonna be the biggest thing to happen in the NBA in a long time. That guy is just 19. I fucking believe how good he is. I heard of Sound of Silence. I think I forgot what I saw a video on YouTube one time. I mean, you could react to it live. He's kind of a fan of who? I don't got many fans. I mean, I appreciate the little ones I got, but uh, I'm always surprised when someone, a bit much bigger YouTuber knows who I am. It's interesting. All right, so let's see. Let me shut that. Man, look at this. That's the type of body I like on a woman. All right, so uh, games. Come on. I've seen a lot of his videos before. I haven't seen him in a while, but this is it right here, right? So we're gonna check this out then. So you saying he's a fan of mine? Really? That's cool. All right, well, let's check this out.
So here we are again at the end of another year. No other qualifiers. There's very little that I can say in this video that I haven't said already in the multitude of videos that I have made on this subject over the past 10 years. 10 years we've been doing this, and 10 years I have been sounding the alarm on what an absolute farcical joke that this championship format produces. I genuinely have no idea what else to say at this point, and the fact that these videos keep needing to be made is just a testament to human nature, a testament to what happens when one has to push their psyche to the absolute breaking point. And yeah, there's a dude posting a bunch of graphics to his X account. Really, I don't even need to,
I saw that.
show you the problem with this graphic. Can you kids?
I saw this on Twitter, on X, whatever the fuck. I refuse to call it X. I'm gonna keep calling it Twitter. But I look, man, I get it. When people look at this, they're like, oh, it should have been, Byron, and look at the stats and look at. I get it, right? I'm really, you know, obviously, I agree the way this format is. I agree with almost everyone else. It needs to go away. However, if the argument, or for those of you who believe, let's go back to the old Winston Point Cups point system and get rid of playoffs altogether, that's where I kind of go in a different path. I still think a playoff system can work. It's how you implement it. In NASCAR, year after year, they've actually made it worse. Um, they've added too many drivers. They watered down the prestige of making it. And just, we can all agree. it should never come down to one race. I still think you can have a points battle within a playoff system, but I would personally take the last four races and combine it. Points, right? Also award people bonus points for wins and shit like that. That should obviously carry over. So if you are like Byron, and you got all these wins and all of that, like you're gonna have bonus points over other people, but it's not gonna be impossible. Like for you know, you you should be able to get a legit champ with four races combined. That's my opinion, right? Uh, but I do think a lot of people just want to go back to the old point system. And I do think that people have rose colored glasses on and they remember everything being better than it really was. Um, I don't know, man. I still believe a playoff system can work. It's how it's implemented. So let's listen.
At home, shout at the TV, at your computer screen, at your phone, what the problem with this image is. Why is the season-long champion a guy who not only failed to get the most wins on the season, the most top fives on the season, the most top 15s on the season, the most top 20s on the season, the best average finish on the season, the best average driver rating on the season, and consecutive good runs. Man doesn't even have the most DNFs on the season. He is literally first in absolutely zero categories. He is not first in points earned during the chase. He is not first on points earned during the season. He is first in no categories. And yet, somehow, is supposed to be the champion, the entire series champion for the year 2023.
Now, this is what I mean. I think if you had the last four races together, right, as a points, you know, deciding who's the champ, I don't think you'd have Corey Haim the champion, right? More often than not, the guy that has dominated the season is gonna put together enough points, especially with bonus points, right? So somebody like Enfinger or whoever else, if they accomplished more than Heim did, they would have bonus points over him. And they would have four total races. It's on average, you're gonna have the cream of the crop rise to the top. One race, anything can happen. And we saw actually the perfect storm happened with the trucks. You had the shit show that happened. Like the perfect storm happened, and that's what really exposes having this one race deciding everything. But unfortunately, NASCAR wants that. They like that. They look at that as a good thing. So I do agree. This format, as it stands, is terrible. I do agree.
Moving on to the Cup Series. This man made a similar graphic for the Cup Series. Can someone please explain to me how the season-long champion of 2023 does not have the most wins in 2023, the most top fives in 2023, the most top tens in 2023, the most top 20s in 2023, and yet, he is the champion of the 2023 season. This video is an interesting one because I'm sure everyone is going to say the same shit in the comments section. First of all, they're going to say, thought you were done, which is a 4-word phrase only spoken by virgins. The other thing they're going to say is that you're just mad that the biggest douche in the truck series is now supposedly a two-time champion, despite leading in absolutely no categories that would make someone believe that they were a champion of anything other than mediocrity. You see, the thing is that everyone should know by now that I would literally marry Ryan Blaney if he came through this door right now and asked for my hand, put a ring right on there. I would drop to my knees and I would say, yes, master, if that were to happen. He's not deserving of the 2023 championship, even sparsely. Ryan Blaney has the worst average finish of a champion in their championship season. Until winning Talladega last month, Ryan Blaney went 15 straight races with no finishes better than ninth. 2023 season champion Ryan Blaney leaves
He is funny.
the Phoenix race 131 points behind William Byron. In 6th place in full season points, over 2 full races from Byron, who had a 60-point penalty this year, by the way. There are 5 drivers that had a better average finish this season than Ryan Blaney. And
All right. So again, I want to reiterate the point. I totally agree. The way that the system is, as it is now, is not good. It desperately needs to be reconfigured in the way that I've already explained. I'm not going to repeat it again. But like I can't go as far as to like I'm not even saying that this is what he's saying. I don't know. I'll find out in the video where he's going. But if it is going to be like, oh, just get rid of the playoffs and go back to the way things used to be, that is a bridge too far for me. I still think I've had people tell me I'm wrong, and this is just my opinion. Um, I still feel like in sports, a playoff, a playoffs is um, I don't want to say a must have, but I don't know, man. Like I've always, even before they did a playoffs in NASCAR, I did not like the way it was just in like it just I might be wrong. I felt like it there should have been a playoffs, you know. Um Look at college football. And I mean college football is a bit different because it comes down to a bunch of guys smoking cigars in a room making the decision on who's the champion. But how many years went by and there was controversy every year. No matter what you do, there's always going to be controversy. Always. Um, Even when they finally went to a playoffs, it was only 4 teams. I feel like in college you need 8 teams. Like it's the opposite of what NASCAR is doing. They added too many people, excuse me, to the playoffs. College football has like 100 fucking teams in Division 1A. You can't just pick 4 teams at the end and say, okay, there's your playoffs. I just feel like, and look, even if they did 8 teams, like I said, then you're gonna find that ninth team that should have got in. It's life. No matter what you do, you're always gonna have a shortcoming somewhere. However, uh, I still think you should have a playoff system. It's just how it's implemented, and you make it so it rewards people like Byron and other guys who've accomplished a lot in the regular season. So you give them bonus points for wins and things like that. Maybe they need to do more of that, right? Um, Even if it means they kind of are running away with it in the playoffs, at least it's more fair. But um, yeah, I feel like no matter what, it's gonna be a problem. But I guarantee you, a lot of people would not mind going back to like 2006 and go back to the chase. Originally it was just 10 guys, and it was a big deal when they made it. Remember when they all used to, after the final race of the regular season, the all 10 drivers that made it, they would pose together and they would have a group picture, and it was a big deal not just for them and the teams, but the 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 sponsors loved it. It was a big deal. Now it's 16 fucking drivers. They really watered it down. Anyway, let's move forward.
Don't think that I'm leaving Cole Custer out of this because he is an exception to the rule. Because in fact, Cole Custer was probably the most deserving champion this season. Even though he came into the final race 2 full races behind John Hunter Nemechek in full season points. Cole Custer finishes 4th out of all drivers in full season points. 107 points behind John Hunter Nemechek. A full race behind 3rd place in points, Austin Hill. I'm old enough to remember when Cole ran like 14th for like 3 straight races at the start of the year, and everyone was saying how much of a hack he was, and how, him going down to Xfinity was supposed to solve his problems of being walking mediocrity. When in fact, he is now standing as the season champion. The guy from before that was making all the graphics made a graphic for the Xfinity series in which we see Cole Custer actually making appearances, which is more than both other champions can say. I guess Cole kind of deserves it. The biggest problem with this championship format is not knockout rounds. The biggest problem that everyone's been pointing out, rightfully so from the beginning, is the fact that the entire season, 9 months, millions of dollars, and weeks upon weeks of being away from home for hundreds, nay thousands of NASCAR personnel in all 3 series. Everything comes down to one race at one certain track type.
We can all agree on that.
With
Not
everyone
good.
on the track at the same time, every competitor, as many cars as will show up to the track that they are allowed to fit in the race, everyone's there. And some dumbass wrecking himself from 28th place 2 laps down is able to affect the outcome of a 9-month season where weeks of someone's life is spent away from home, and if they want to be with their family for the majority of it, they have to work, they have to be nomads, be like homeschooled or something.
I could not agree more. This is absolutely right. This is when I talked about the same thing when I did the trucks video, and this is absolutely right. This is a failure on NASCAR, and this is why I mentioned, where are the fucking enforcers in the garage? There's nobody telling these idiots, these kids, what's acceptable and what isn't. They think this is proper racing. Like, you're supposed to go out there 2 laps down and wreck a guy for what? I mean, look, I'm not defending Hocevar. Hocevar is an asshole. He's one of these idiots. So they all think this is what you're supposed to do. You don't respect your fellow competitors out there racing for a championship. Um, and nobody did anything. Did Corey Haim's owner say anything? No, he probably defended him. They don't learn any lesson. NASCAR does nothing about it. If there's ever a time to suspend somebody, you could say you're suspended for the next 2, 3 races. Like, we're not tolerating this. This wasn't an accident. We don't need him to admit to it. We know what he did. And like I said when I mentioned Chase Elliott, what he did to Kevin Harvick, that was atrocious and it was an embarrassment for NASCAR, who did nothing about it. He altered the outcome of a race. He affected everyone's race because he was being a child, a petulant child. And this was going on, it wasn't one lap. This was just going on and on and on for the rest of the race. He was just out there. Same thing with, remember when Denny Hamlin was out there? And every time he was waiting for Chastain to catch him, and he would try to run him up the wall. Like, how long do you need to watch that before you black flag a guy and suspend him? You cannot allow this kind of stuff to happen. Because now it's no longer a sport. It's a circus.
Which, I mean, if you swing that way, what's stopping you? But all of it comes down to one race. And there's always going to be 4 individuals who are a part of said race for the championship. No matter how few of them deserve it, no matter the season that they had before the chase began, no matter anything really. If you're able to have 1 good race, 2 good races all season long, you can finish last in every other event and you can be champion. And even then, Rhodes got 1 garbage win this season. That's what he's known for. He's known for getting absolute garbage wins that only come when the guy that should have won the race chokes it away. Or, the entire top 5 pits in front of him, and he just exists and wins. But yes, I'm supposed to believe that 8 career wins having Ben Rhodes is supposed to be a two-time Truck Series champion. I'm just supposed to stand aside and be okay with this. After Corey Haim misses an entire race and still comes into the finale with a full race lead, 60-plus points over second in the entire season standings, coming into the final race of the season with 15 straight top 10s, I'm supposed to believe that he does not deserve the championship because he got wrecked while leading the championship in the final race of the season. I'm supposed to believe that he does not deserve the championship despite being in the best truck all season and having a 15-race top 10 streak. And even then, let's take a look inside of this Final Four. Let's take a little bit of look further. I'm just supposed to believe that Grant Enfinger doesn't deserve this championship after not finishing outside of the top 20 in all 23 races of the Truck Series season. That alone is borderline a god tier season. In a series like the Trucks, where there's a bunch of non-driving rich kids that can only make passes if they wreck your shit doing so. And Grant managed to avoid all that, all the while winning 3 races on the season. Not like he was just, running 20th with no one around him the entire race and finishing there. No, he was a contender almost every week. But he does not deserve the championship because 2 guys decide to wall each other with 3 laps to go and set up an 8-wide restart. 8 wide. Everyone's seen this picture this weekend, but I'm supposed to believe that 1 win on the season ain't done shit in his entire career. Ben Rhodes is supposed to be the champion after doing absolutely fuck all the entire year and having 3 good races at the end of the season.
This is why you have to implement things like bonus points uh, for wins and all that that carry over into the playoffs and beyond, because you do want to reward what people do throughout the entire year. These things are fixable. There's no perfect solution, but a guy like Rhodes or even whoever wouldn't shouldn't even be in a position to be in that Final Four if you made bonus points and all these things carry out throughout the playoffs. And if you had four races to duel it out, more often than not, a guy like Byron, just his consistency, he would pull it out. This is why you cannot have everything settled in one race. And you take four different races at the end together. That's how I would do it.
After doing absolutely jack fuck all the entire year, I'm supposed to stand by and just accept that he is the 2023 season champion when he led absolutely no categories in the 2023 season and had no pace to speak of for the majority of the 2023 season. So there is no solution to this problem because NASCAR got exactly what they wanted out of all three races. All three races. Truck race was everything they could have ever dreamed. Brian France's wet dream on a silver platter is the championship contenders wrecking each other out, racing for the championship in the final race, setting up multiple green-white checkers with multiple 8-9 wide situations.
He's right. And this is exactly what I talked about in the video. NASCAR likes this. You hear Steve Phelps and just telling everyone how amazing this is. He lives in a bubble. Their focus is crazy entertainment and getting these moments that everyone's talking about. They look at that as a good thing. I agree.
On the stupidestly designed track on the schedule. That is everything that they've ever wanted from this system. Right there. Right there. Right there. Just this one screen cap. That is everything that they've ever wanted from this system. And no matter how much any of us on the outside speak out against this garbage bag format that rewards farcical championships, that I cannot honestly see anyone taking seriously. Any genuine individual who wants to see a sporting competition take place, I genuinely cannot see how any of them wouldn't see this as some sort of made-for-TV soap opera type shit.
This is why I remind people, as much as you may not want a playoff system, you want to go back to the old point system, I'm just telling you, if we're just being realistic, that's never going to happen. Look how entrenched NASCAR is, and they like this, they think this is good. So the best we can hope for, or even think that we can maybe push NASCAR, is in the direction of fixing the playoff system to make it more fair to the people that are most consistent and actually win more races, right? Um, if we can maybe convince them, I'm not saying we can, but you have a better chance of getting them to say, okay, everyone hates this one race settling everything. They hate the fact that a guy that can win so many races is can lose to a guy that hasn't done anything. There are ways to fix it, as I've talked about, but as long as you feel like, oh, we just hate the whole playoff system entirely, we want to go back to the point system of the Winston Cup, that's never going to happen. I'm just being realistic with you guys. It's better to focus your energy on trying to nudge them in the right direction into fixing the playoff system instead of just saying we hate the entire playoff system. We only respect Winston Cup points from like the old school days when before we ever had a playoff system. They're not going back. It's just not going to happen. So I'm trying to look at it from that point of view. I'm not going to be one of these guys that are constantly posting about how much I missed the Winston Cup point system. And by the way, I'm not saying that's what he's doing. I'm just talking in general from what I see from the community. Everything he says is on point. He's absolutely right about everything he said. Where do we go from here? How can the fan base convince NASCAR to dump the entire playoff system and go back to the way it was? Or can we at some point nudge them in the right direction and say, look, you got to stop with the one race at the end, trying to create these dramatic Game 7 moments. We want a more legitimate playoff. We're not happy with this. And I'm not saying it would work, but you have a much bigger chance to affect change if you stay within reality. They're not going back. They're not going back. We've had a playoff system for over 10 years or whatever, and not only that, it's getting worse. So let's stop the bleeding. Let's try to send that message like, this is crazy. We want something more legit. Okay? You could still have drama in the playoff system. There are good moments, but you can't manufacture everything. It's gonna bite you in the ass at some point. So,
and the same goes for Blaney. Blaney, by all metrics, did not have a championship tier season. In fact, if anything, last year, he had a much more respectable season from start to finish. And if anything, he should have won that championship. The NASCAR lost all credibility after the 2020 Truck Series final race, after the 2020 Truck season finale. They lost all credibility in that exact moment. And I knew that they were never going to change the format again, and they were probably never going to leave Phoenix and go to a different, final race of the season unless it was Daytona or Talladega, I guess. That's the only other place that I ever foresee the final race of the season taking place at, is one of them. But that was the moment I knew they got everything that they wanted. They got everything that Brian France wanted from the start back in 2004. They got exactly what they want. They got their made-for-TV soap opera at the expense of all of us. Not just the drivers, not just the teams, but all of us. All of us. All of us are being cheated by a system that rewards mediocrity for the entire season, and even then continues to award mediocrity even as, the chase begins. You can just back your way into the Final Four, and just like that, you've got a shot. And if enough people wreck themselves, well, there you go. Suddenly, you're a champion of the sport. And we're supposed to sit back and take that seriously. And the go-to that everyone on X will say is, oh, so you want the Winston Cup format, don't you? Don't you know that that's, outdated and stuff? And that there were not great champions in that too? I'm not asking for that format. If anything, awarding stage points, I think that's justified. I think earning, 10 points here and there for running good at a certain point of the race, I don't see anything wrong with that, honestly. It's just the chase. It should not come down to 4 drivers. Because hardly there's even 4 drivers ever fucking in contention for being the best driver of the entire season. Most of the time, one guy runs off with it. But that's okay. That's okay. NASCAR is the only series that being the best all season is a detriment. Really, it's a detriment. How many guys have amazing seasons where they're absolutely untouchable from race 1 to the penultimate race? And they're clicking off good runs over and over. What's the point of even bothering? What's the point of even bothering with trying to perform all season? What's the point of even trying to be the best driver of the entire season when you can win the first race of the season and practically take the next 5 months off? This video's gone on for too long, dude. Hey, I'm just repeating myself at this point. I'm just saying shit that I said in the other videos. There's no reason to even make this. Because anyone with sense could see it. Any honest actor, anyone actually acting with honesty in their hearts, knows that what we're witnessing every year is a farce. We all know this. All that I ask for, you can reward, first place. You could give whoever's leading every single lap 1 point each and just have that be what the system is. You could award the guy who wins the race 100 points and the rest of the field nothing. You could award the guy that finishes 13th an extra 13 points just because, the 13th place award is sponsored by fucking Lowe's or something. You can do that. But why does it have to come down to 4 guys every time? Why? Why do we need this? Oh, it's so we can get stuff like that. Wow. Invigorating stuff. Anyway, I've made this video about 6 times at this point, so I think you get the fucking hint. In any case, I've been Kamikaze, and I don't know what to fucking say at this point. Guess I'll see you fucking next year.
All right, that was on point. I couldn't have said it better. He hit every point, and he's right. So we can agree on almost everything, and I'm glad that he pointed out that he's not asking for going back to the old point system. My thing is this: I see all over social media, there's always people posting, look at where the points would be if we were back in the old point system. My thing is, that's not going to happen. We're never going back. And when you do that, all you're doing is stoking that fire. I'd rather focus on what's wrong with the system we have and what can we do to fix it and what would work better. Because there is no perfect solution. I promise you, if NASCAR tomorrow announced we're done with the playoffs, we're going back to the way it used to be with the old Winston Cup point system, we're going back. I can promise you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, there would be an uproar amongst NASCAR fans. Believe me, if you think that everyone would celebrate, some people would, but there would be outrage. You're never going to please everyone. There are ways to fix it. Maybe we award more points for wins than we do now. And like I said, the most obvious thing is combine like the last 4 races. You cannot have one race decide everything. Not only that, if you make it a combination of 4 races, these guys wouldn't do some of the things they do because they know this. Like, let's say you're having a shitty race, you're not gonna go and try to do some boneheaded shit like wreck someone because that's it, it's over for you. You're like, no, this is 1 out of 4 races. I'm still in it. I'm still alive. I still gotta race smart. I'm not telling you that people would completely stop doing the dumb shit we see, but it might have some effect. And for God's sake, bring it back down to 10 drivers. The playoff was actually good when it first started. When it first came out, it was a lot more fair. It made more sense. Again, it wasn't perfect, but you what you have now is just evolved into a free for all. And I just feel like we have a better chance of maybe nudging NASCAR at some point to fixing the system. As long as there are people out there, and as we saw, Kamikaze Games is not advocating for returning to the old point system. He's rightfully 100% correct in everything he said about the system today. So it's fixable. It's fixable, guys. It's just, are they going to listen at some point? I don't know. But I can promise you, they're not going back to the old point system. I'm not wasting my time with that. Let's go. I'm going to read some comments. Holy shit, there's a lot of comments. I'm not going to be able to go back all the way. All right. So JC says this is hardly an anti-playoff video. Well, I saw watching it to its conclusion. You're absolutely right. Everything he said was right. I cannot disagree with anything in the video for sure. Daniel says keep the knockout format, go back to the 10 drivers, get the bonus points back for leading the most laps. Yeah, but the most important thing is you cannot have one race deciding everything. And you're hearing actual NASCAR people, ex-drivers, current drivers mentioning these things. So you never know when NASCAR may give in and listen. Let's see. There's too many comments. I can't go back to all of them. All right. I don't think anybody has the perfect solution. You've heard mine. 10 cars. The winning you're in is over. I don't care if you got to be in the top 10 in points. Reward people more points for winning. So if you do win, you are getting more points, right? Whatever it is, whatever's fair. Top 10 in points gets in. After the first 6 races, the bottom 6 drivers eliminated. Then you got your last 4 guys, last 4 races combined. Also, bonus points carry over. So if somebody has been winning and has been doing great, he's going to have an advantage in those last 4 races. But you got 4 races to decide it. That's the way I would do it and see how that works. And if you need to tweak it, you tweak it again. But I think there's a better chance to try to nudge NASCAR in that direction. Don't waste your time with the old, pining away for the way things used to be before we ever saw playoffs. It's not coming back. JC says biggest thing to cite is football is a game between 2 teams, not 40. You're right. I get that. But it is the way it is. Racing is racing. You're not going to have like the Final Four racing by themselves on a track. I don't think anybody wants to see that, by the way. So 1200 says that's why I can't take this point system seriously. Gordon would be a seven-time champ. Yeah, again, this is one of those arguments I don't waste my time with because I see this people do this all the time. If we had the old point system, this guy would have been, won this many championships, and would have, could have. I can't, there's a point where you got to stay within what's reality, and the reality is those days are over. All right, guys, it's getting late, so a couple more minutes, and then I'm gonna call it. All right, we got the same people going back and forth. It's never gonna be a consensus amongst everybody. Elite Precision, welcome. Who's out of who's more out of touch, Vince McMahon or NASCAR leadership? Obviously, NASCAR leadership. But I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. So I used to watch it when Booker T was the guy. Like that was my guy. The infamous welcome. Truth be told, I only watched 16 races this season across the three series. Yeah, sorry to hear that. There honestly was a lot of great races this year. I think. Um, yeah. Let's see. All right, we can pretty much know what everybody's pretty much thinking. Uh, Elite Precision says if they're gonna have a playoffs, just go back to 2004 format. I agree. That it was better in the beginning. It was 10 guys and it was on points. No winning, you're in. How many guys win fucking Daytona 500? They're in, and then they don't do shit in the fucking playoffs. It's a joke. Elite says the 2004 format was a good balance between of legitimacy and entertainment. I agree. 1200 says if they don't go back to Winston Cup points, they're finished. Nobody in NASCAR takes this playoff system seriously. The real drivers know it's a money game gimmick, and that's why fans are leaving. I don't know if they're going to be finished. Like I said, I can promise you that if they went back to Winston Cup old points without no playoffs, you really think everyone would rejoice? You wouldn't have half the fucking fan base complain? I promise you they would. All right, guys. It's getting late. JC says I don't even like the Winston Cup format. Who we kidding? Dang thing made winning nothing more than a stat. Not a huge advantage over second. Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of the old Winston Cup points format. I'm not. Um, you know, uh, I don't know. That's just my personal preference. I'm not going to argue about it. JC also says guy wins and gets 185. Guy finished second and gets 175. Like what? I agree. But these are things that are easily fixable. You give a guy more points for winning. There are things they can do to fix and tweak it. It's just that I don't like what I'm hearing. When you hear NASCAR telling you this is great, this is what they want, that's what scares me. They're not even leaving a door open saying, there's a few things we're looking at. We are hearing what the fans are saying. We're still sort of figuring things out. Or there's a chance we may make some tweaks. That would make me feel better. but they're just like everything's great. That's the scary part. All right. Yeah, Elite says he's speaking facts. I agree. Everything he said in the video is 100% correct. It's hard to argue those stats. When you literally see the stats, you can't really argue. Some of these guys shouldn't even be. Like, the fact that you have to have four, no matter what, no matter how they're performing, that hurts it too. Maybe you don't get four. Maybe, you somehow, some way you figure it out where the points decides. And if only two or three guys are eligible, so be it. Because you're always going to have someone in there that has no business competing for a championship. Yeah, I made sure to give him a thumbs up for the video as well. Uh, yeah. All right, guys. It's getting late, man. I gotta go. I do want to thank you guys for joining the live stream. Um, yeah, it was a good discussion. We got to argue about the same old shit again. That was fun. Uh, yeah. So thanks everybody for showing up. And yeah, if there's any news on NASCAR games or whatever, I'll do videos on it. But now that the season's over, there's not a lot going on. I'm gonna try to find a league to join in iRacing. Uh, you know, I really feel like if I can find a league to join, it'll be fun, and I'll live stream all of the races, and I'll keep you guys in the loop of what's going on. That is what I want to do, but finding a good league that's right for me is has not been easy. Um, so I'm gonna try this week. Maybe I could find something. In either case, there's some good tracks this week. I'll up live stream a couple of the races. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming, and you guys have a good night.